Let's get that up and running here.
Right. Hi, guys. So Jason is hooking up. You'll be here in a second. So
Hello, everybody.
Yankee T News, and he's going to do his call sign here in a second.
And here we go. We're going live on Facebook. Oh, wait, we got to switch that around. Nobody wants to see my printer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And welcome, everybody. Common Sense News Entertainment, another edition here on this lovely May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo, as they would say in the Hispanic world. And I am here with, as usual, my good friend from Yankee T News, Court Rotnowski, for another edition of Intelligent Talk here with Common Sense. So we have a lot on the agenda today for sure. Let me enlarge the screen.
Yeah, I'll just mention in passing that it was a rough day for Eric.
It was a rough day for Eric. How so?
There was
probably lunch. Other than that, how bad was it?
One piece of equipment that he needed and he couldn't find it. All right.
Camera, correct?
Yeah. So I quite understand the problem, but I gave him a couple of names of people to call, and I know he's going to follow. So hopefully he'll get that ironed out for himself.
We'll really appreciate what he's doing, his efforts for sure. And of course, this is in regard to the debate that we have concocted and originated on Connecticut Common Sense with Selena Rifkin 2 weeks ago, along with Betsy McCoy. Now it's all coming to fruition.
Yeah, so now you know that, and just a reminder, right? You're going to pick up the cutout tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, we're picking up the cutout of Aaron tomorrow afternoon. I don't think the CTR is too happy about that part of it, but oh well.
Why?
I don't know. They want to be nice.
Oh, we can't. You can't. Well,
I think you'd be quite proud of the way I handled the board, facing the board.
Okay.
When they grilled me on that very thing, and I basically was able to neutralize it without making any commitments. I was saying, okay, we'll leave Aaron alone, or I didn't say anything like that. I didn't concede anything.
Oh.
But I still diffused it.
This whole thing's not hard to understand. It just, anyway, I think we're going to leave Aaron alone for the moment. Okay.
We'll let it go. It's been a couple days. Excuse me just a second. We got a lot of chatter going on here.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, I'm on the air, just so you know. Okay. Sounds like a board meeting in there of its own.
There you go.
Okay, so anyway, I think that I'm looking forward to this debate. I know that I met with Eric and with Mark actually at the location today on the Berlin Turnpike, and we thought we were going to have too many people for the place. Then it looked like we weren't going to have enough people, and now it looks like we're going to be right about where we want to be. So that's really good,
right?
Attendance wise, and hopefully Aaron will show up. I think there's a couple of people that know Aaron that I think are going to call her and try to talk her into it.
That would be very good. Manny's one of them, right?
Yeah, Manny's one of them, and a couple other people. I know a guy who knows her from college, knows her college friends and stuff like that. I'm going to try to get a couple of her college girlfriends to call her up. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I think, let's put yourself in Aaron's shoes just for a minute.
Sure. Well,
I would want to clear the air.
Happen for you to be able to do that. Okay, first of all, you got to remember, who was her daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Who was
her? He was a former mayor of New Britain, wasn't he?
Right. So that's what she was
to start.
That's what she was born into. So every night at the dinner table, it was going to be about politics.
Right.
Okay. So that's what she was raised on.
Well, if I was her, I would want to clear the air. I'd want to, if I really.
Yes. That's exact. That's good. When I get the cutout and I'm going to do the message, is exactly the message I'm sending her.
Yeah. I mean, clear the air. That's all. If she really is the genuine article, then I would think that you'd want to come in and tell us. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's
the odds are showing about 8% or less. So
yes. Anyway, so the tagline for her to grab a hold of is it's attributed to an anonymous CEO. I think I told you before. The saying is, if you aren't making mistakes, you aren't making progress.
Well, that's true.
Yes, it's very true. Okay.
And if Aaron made mistakes, then it's okay to talk about those.
No, you have to look at it from the point of view that you learn from these things, and you're not perfect. Thank you for being human like the rest of us.
Right? Yeah, we're all human. We all look foolish, and we all have our bad days where we're not at our best. We all make mistakes. I mean,
that's right. So anyway. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So we got
it's going to be streaming everywhere at 7 p.m. on Friday. So look for the portal; it'll be out there.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I actually worry about.
What's that?
I know there's going to be plenty of coverage on it, but are the people going to know where to go?
if we put up, you have to put up links. Okay.
Well, we will be.
So. All right. That's the thing. All right. So meantime, you can start with peptides since you brought it up.
Yeah. So I heard a little bit this morning on Fox News about peptides. Fox News is doing a pretty cool thing this week. Health food. I guess it's Health and Wellness Week or something like that.
Yeah.
They're taking these each day of the week. They're taking a separate new remedy. Yesterday they did a red light therapy or something like that. Today they're doing peptides.
Right.
And I watched the report, and RFK is big on peptides.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of doctors that aren't so big on it. What it is, and tell me if I'm wrong. I know you know more about it than I do, so I'll start off and let you carry it home.
Mm-hmm.
The peptides are essentially, like you told me, a small protein that is injected into your system, along with other certain nutrients, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with it is that you have the potential for having too much. So vitamins like vitamin B, and I think, maybe I'm getting confused with it. There's IV therapy they were doing along with it, I guess.
Oh, the I would put at the top of the heading that we're talking about IV therapy.
Yeah. Okay. So the problem is too much of it. Some things are a bad thing, and that's the problem with it.
Okay. Well, this all right. Part one. Assuming that there's enough clinical experience with whatever this formulation is, you would do the blood test on the patient, and you'd be able to look at the blood results and know what the product has, and make a determination as to whether or not there's a chance of some kind of an overdose or adverse reaction. Mm-hmm. That's what I would presume. Now, maybe I presume too much. Okay, but so that I understand the general thing you're talking about. Let me give you an example of a controversial peptide, just because it's fun to do.
Okay.
You've heard of aspartame, right?
I have heard of aspartame.
Aspartame.
It's an artificial sweetener, right?
Sorry?
It's an artificial sweetener, is it not?
Correct.
Okay.
And you would be surprised to know that it's composed of merely 2 amino acids. That's it. Okay. So technically, since it's 2 amino acids, it is a peptide.
I see.
So 2 or more.
I'm off even more on it now.
So 2 or more amino acids make a peptide.
Okay.
And I think there's another one in our body that is very common. It's called glutathione. Okay. And that's an example of a tripeptide. So yes, there's supplementation in your diet with glutathione. Okay, can you overdose on it? Maybe. I haven't heard much about that happening. Okay, so those are 2 quick and easy examples of what would be called, quote, peptide drugs. One's a supplement and the other is artificially created. Now, what gets confusing is, let me just start with the basic here for you in the audience. Think of the alphabet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it turns out that there is a group of compounds of amino acids that are called common amino acids. And roughly speaking, there are 20 or 21 or 22 of what are considered common amino acids.
All right.
And when you're putting together, so for example, if I took one of each, all right, and let's just say I would make the alphabet, okay? So the first amino acid is A, the second type is B, the third type is C, etc.
Okay.
And now what I can do is string together, like pearls, those amino acids to form a peptide.
Okay.
Okay. Now, each amino acid can be very different from each other. And as a result, so let's just say, trying to think of a simple way to put this. You can, for example, there's an amino acid called methionine. That is a big fat amino acid, let me tell you. Okay?
Okay.
You got alanine, which is a very small amino acid. And because of the big size of the methionine next to the alanine, the way they bind together will be very different from the way that, say, 2 alanines would bind together, or alanine and another peptide. So this is a way of working up to the idea that, sure, I'm talking about a string of pearls, but when you put these together in a certain sequence, so A, F, J, L, AA, P, okay, that's going to take on a very specific shape as that kind of peptide. All right, so that's just my general chemistry explanation of peptides.
Okay. I think that this is the first time, in my opinion, with RFK.
Mm-hmm.
I've been cheering him on from the very beginning. There's not a word that's come out of his mouth that I've objected to, honestly. But until now, I think RFK should start focusing back on fixing our tenants' food supply rather than worrying about peptides.
Well, he's
I
got
think have dangers to them.
he's got to move from one thing to another. I mean, he's got a big job,
Sure, but I understand he's got more than one thing to worry about. I hope he's.
The thing I want to hear more about is vaccines. Okay, this to me is an important topic, but some people have worried that he's backpedaling on vaccines.
Well, I certainly hope not.
Yeah. So.
Well, he's taking a lot of heat over vaccines. That kind of leads into what was going on at the state capitol today, actually.
Sure. Well, I mean,
it's the homeschooling law that got passed last night at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, what a surprise.
Right? Yeah, they have to do it when everybody's sleeping. That's how bad it is. So I just
they can do that, so we'll watch. See, Lamont will probably sign it into law, but I'm sorry, this is just the first salvo in a war that has just begun. Okay,
it is like a war. It's like the Middle Ages.
Yeah. So no, there's you're going to hear me talk a lot about revolt, refuse to comply. And here's the thing that's very weird about this. The bad actor in this whole drama, okay, is DCF, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Department of Children and Families, you've had people stand up, basically. So there was a recent report put out by this Inspector General in the state of Connecticut, which really lays out everything that's wrong with the DCF, and there's a lot. So basically what it comes down to is whatever you think about the DCF, it's worse. It's a lot worse.
Yeah, they should be called the DDCF, the Department of the Destruction of Children and Families.
That would be a fair.
That's a fair criticism.
Right. So you had as a public statement from one of the state senators, that in his opinion, no one should ever come anywhere near the DCF. I mean, without saying it, he was basically saying the DCF should be dissolved. Mm-hmm. They do so much more harm than good. Mm-hmm. That they should not exist, is what he was basically saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think a lot of people we've heard enough horror stories. Was that the one you told me about the visit by the DCF? 1 hour later, teenage kid killed himself.
Yeah.
Right. So. All right, yeah. Oh, there's no connection there. Yeah.
There's a lot of stories like that. And even worse when it comes to like taking kids away from parents, their legitimate loving parents.
Right.
Something simple like him refusing to call his daughter a he.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's happened in Connecticut yet.
It has happened in Connecticut. It absolutely has happened in Connecticut.
Oh boy.
I know it has. I talked to a man directly who I have his name in my book somewhere. I don't have it off the top of my head. But he lives in Litchfield County in John DeBrose's district.
And he still has not gotten his child back.
I don't know what's happened. I've talked to him about 6 months ago, but he had not seen his daughter in over a year at that point.
Well, over a year?
Over a year, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And he's also, even if his thing is even if he was allowed to see his daughter at this point, they've poisoned her mind so badly against him that she is actually turning on him as well. So
okay. So meantime, just a quick note. Selena just said a note. You probably will see it too. She's boasting.
Who's boasting?
Selena.
Oh.
54. Okay.
I don't see anything.
Go, girl. Go, girl. Okay.
Oh, attendees, you mean?
Yes, that's right.
Good.
That's great. Okay, that's what we need. And I don't know about me if I've got so let me just bitch a little complaint here. Tomorrow is my colonoscopy procedure. No.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
One I chickened out of in February.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Yeah. Well.
I have some people to invite too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got the
colonoscopy. My goodness, don't do it.
Yeah, well, it needs to be done.
Well, you're older than me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, just to share it with you, because this would be for anybody else who's listening. This comes as a couple of things. So this comes as a shock to me. Doctor suggested that the reason I was having so much constipation is because of sleep apnea.
Really?
Yes. So I thought, well, this is weird. So when I did
Oh, they're related.
so when I did a little homework on this, apparently, so if you have, they don't make it clear, because you can have mild sleep apnea, you can have severe sleep apnea. So, but the notion is, at some level, when you're not breathing in, okay, then this starts to set off all these biochemical alarms in your body.
That cause your butt to shrink up and you can't poop?
Nope, no, that's actually very funny,
Okay.
but it's actually worse than that.
Oh,
So what happens is, for some reason, it shuts off your digestion. The stress caused by not sleep
that makes sense because your body's looking to turn its energies elsewhere to deal with whatever crisis it's dealing
I'm
with.
looking for a different explanation. So here comes another biology lecture. So some people may or may not have heard of serotonin. Okay, serotonin is normally thought of as helping you sleep. Okay, but who knew that serotonin is also needed for your digestive tract? The same molecule does two different things in two different parts of the body.
Hmm.
I have forever been amazed at that.
That is right.
But there may be a rational explanation for it. I'm not quite there yet with a rational explanation, but I'm working on it.
A utility player.
Oh yeah, in a way. I mean, this is one of the funny things. But there are lots of other examples of molecules in the body that do different things in different parts of the body. It's part of somehow the way nature is efficient. So the serotonin is actually manufactured in your gut, and then some of it gets sent up to your brain. So what goes on with your gut is going to have effect on how you sleep. Okay, but so there's stress. So there's got to be a feedback loop of some kind that makes your serotonin level get reduced. All right, that leads to these problems. So that's about the depth of my understanding of that at this point. But it's just an incredible example of how these things just fit together.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so there's going to be this cry for revolt. Okay, the cry for revolt.
Well, there should be, because this kind of dovetails to this morning, as you may or may not know. I spent a couple hours at the state capitol today.
Yes, no, I did. I told you.
Yeah.
So
Well, the audience. I'm telling the audience that I have been to the Capitol quite a few times over the last 10 years, but I never walked in the building.
Okay.
The last time I actually was inside of the Capitol building was when I was in 5th grade.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right.
On a field trip.
All right.
So I'd been at the Capitol, and I've been a lot of places in the last 18 months since I got involved. Never inside the building until today. And I got to tell you, as I walk, now I've been in many government buildings before, and I've been around government officials before, and I've always had the feeling like this is the United States, and I've always almost felt like I'm among my colleagues, my allies, my protectors, the government. I've always had a sense of, I know there's always been bad actors in the government or whatnot, but generally speaking, I felt like I was with my allies, my American brothers and sisters in some way.
Okay.
Even with the bureaucracy and the crap, right?
Okay. Not today.
Not today. As I walked toward the state I walked around the building before I went inside, and I had this chilling feeling. I felt like I was walking into a beautiful building, by the way, that had been ransacked and taken over by thugs and Marxists and criminals.
Mm-hmm.
By the use of fixed elections and lies, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And have stormed the building and taken it over. And I got inside and I'm walking around in there. I got to the 3rd floor. I found the Republican offices and the Democratic offices. I got to the 3rd floor. There was a whole section of the 3rd floor cordoned off.
Sure.
And it said there was a sign, and it was a well-prepared sign that had been obviously bought from a printing company and had permanent letters on it. It said Democrat senators only.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, they have their own offices, but why are you cordoning off entire sections of the building for one party or another? That doesn't sound very democratic to me. The other thing that I found very disturbing is when I first walked into the entrance, there was a cloth table, about two cloth tables.
I saw that.
Set up. Yeah, you saw it. About 15 feet wide, and some people sitting by it. And on the front, it said, for children and youth's health problems, basically. I don't remember exactly what it said. It's on my video. Something about children and youth health concerns come to us, basically.
Okay, but you didn't take any of the literature.
No, I did not.
Next,
maybe I should have.
That's exactly what you should have done.
You're right, but I can't help but think this is where they're luring children into their web of horror. It didn't say families, parents, nothing about parents or families.
Right.
Just a place for children and youth, apparently, to walk up and
okay. Well,
a little web. It was very sinister to me.
I wasn't quite listening to. Did you use the word lure?
Yes, I did.
I did. Yes. Well, I agree. That's the key word, luring them.
They're luring them, yeah.
And taking advantage. I mean, the part that would be a little curious to me, well, if there's a teenager walking around, that, but a younger child should be with their parents.
Be with their parents. Well, they're casting a wide net, but they're not expecting 5-year-olds to walk up to the table, but they're there to little teenagers.
Yeah. But anyway, the other thing is I didn't see your interview with Sheila.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Yeah?
Another disease has come to light in the show.
Yes, it's biology night. Yeah, what's that?
Another disease.
What's that?
Cholera.
Oh, we know about cholera.
It's a diarrheal bacterial.
Yep.
It's caused by dirty water in the sewage.
Yes, that's right. Cholera has a long history. Can we talk about? Yeah, I'm on the air right now. You can say hi to the folks, but
hello.
All right. Hey, all right. There you go.
So, I'll tell you something that happened while I was at the Capitol today.
Walked right through the stone column. See that?
Right through that. Supernatural effect.
That's right.
So as I was walking around the perimeter of the building before I walked into the building, I saw William Tongs. What's his last name?
Yeah, hold on. JK just said I get that creepy feeling in DC.
Yeah. It was very creepy. It felt walking through that building with all the suits walking around me. I felt like I was among enemies.
Interesting.
I felt like I was in a lion's den. I really did. It felt very, very eerie.
Okay, well, so I don't have to remind you that when people make comments about how Connecticut has become communist, it doesn't seem that odd to you.
No, I'm not surprised about it. I had the Joby out and the camera going pretty openly, and I got some pretty nasty stares, especially up at that third floor from Democrats.
As you walk around,
looking at me, and
yeah,
they're hiding something.
Oh, they're always hiding something.
So I walked by Tong. As I was walking around outside, I see. Is it William Tong? Is that his name?
That's the Attorney General.
He's a horrible person. Today last night he was talking about implying that Connecticut is a sovereign state, part of the United States by consent only, basically applying secession.
What do you mean by consent only?
He made a speech just yesterday saying that we are a sovereign state, that we are part of a united thing with the United States by consent only, implying that we can leave.
Okay.
He
might want to check his history books, but this is why liberals are so stupid, right?
It's not
this issue. We had a discussion about this issue.
It's not that Tong is stupid. He thinks we're stupid. He thinks that he's
called the Civil War. You might want to check on that about consent and departure.
Yeah, I know. So here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
You know what he was driving? You know what he was parked in a space?
Well, the space is near the main entrance to the Capitol.
Yeah, but he was driving. What he was driving was like a Honda, a little Honda sedan, older looking Honda. So not a fancy car, not a rich car.
That you can't hold that against him. He's probably
no, of course not. But he's got that Lamborghini back at home.
That's a good setup. There you go.
Yeah, he's trying to throw that. I'm just one of the boys thing when he comes to work. He's got something more than that at his garage at home. And so here's the thing where I messed up, though.
Yes.
I was looking to get in the building, so I took a video of his car and the sign.
Learning from mistakes. Yes.
Went into the building, and then I met with Sheila. I'll talk about Sheila in a minute. I met with Sheila, and then I came back around the bend, and his car was gone. About 20 minutes later, which means if I had just stayed there,
you could have
confronted him face to face.
Well, there's no way you could have known that.
No, it wasn't like a mistake. It was just a misfortune, I guess.
Yeah.
But at any rate, to talk about Sheila. Sheila is with a company called AbleChild.org.
She founded it.
She founded it, not just part of it. She founded it.
Yeah,
She does
that's her baby.
yeoman's work, yeoman's work,
Yo, woman's birthday.
in advancing the cause of children
Yes.
to oppose what we just talked about, this luring and this disgusting thing they're doing.
So, her main focus is the over drugging or over medicating of children in school systems.
That's correct.
It starts with these phony hyperactive diagnoses.
Not to mention the ADHD, over diagnoses of ADHD in men, which is boys.
So that's sort of a main focus. But then from there, you get into depression and anxiety stuff, and there you have the psychiatrist over medicating for that.
Mm-hmm.
Her point is well taken. The true reality is that there is a significant, I'll say a significant number of cases of mass shootings where the perpetrator was under the care of a psychiatrist and receiving quite the cocktail of drugs.
That's correct.
Okay.
And I think in general, in this nation in general, because of money, I think we are way too quick to turn to drugs and or surgery to deal with problems before we look at other ways. And that's a problem for all people, not just kids.
Yeah, well, I just
In other words,
you're right.
Everybody's what we got 1/3 of the people supposedly autistic now, or one out of 5 when it used to be 1 out of 100,000. Is that a rise in autism or just over diagnoses?
It's 1 in 30.
Yeah, isn't I think is it 1 in 30? Well, it was 1 in 100,000 at one point.
Okay, but there are a couple of issues here that I need to throw into that figure. First, when you get diagnosed, guess what happens?
They drug you.
No, you get special services.
Oh, I see.
Okay? And you get special treatment.
Here comes the money.
Well, and there's not just the money. For example, one of the common things is if you are deemed special needs and you're taking a test, you're given extra time to finish that test. So if mom and dad are worried about their little boy or girl getting into college, it would be great to let them have more time to take that test in order to get a better grade.
Right. They offered my daughter that special treatment in 10th grade when she was in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
For nothing really. And so
that's sort of a key feature, but then there are others when it comes to special services. Now you get into this thing called an IEP. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of it. Yeah,
individual educational program. And it costs the school district an arm and a leg. So wow. But so now you're talking about hiring an occupational therapist, a language therapist, a psychologist, God knows who else, to help address whatever problems they think the child has. The belief is, well, Junior is kind of behind in this area, so we'll give support services to help him catch up. And he's got a problem over here, and
give him some drugs.
Yeah, but those people, they cost $70, $80, $90 an hour, and right. So you can't.
It's about the money. That's the problem.
Okay, but for some people, but for others, it's a burden on the taxpayers. Okay, and they shouldn't be doing it, but they are.
So if you're a boy, and boys like to run around like banshees, that automatically means you have ADHD. And if you're a girl, we know a lot of girls can be shy sometimes, and I guess shyness is now autism.
Not necessarily.
Well, no, not necessarily, but that's where we're going. That's
all right. So I'm gonna label your claims half true, okay? Because you have to not everybody. All right, so 1 in 30. Okay, that means the other 29 are normal. All right, so you got to keep that point in mind.
Well, until you realize that it was once 1 out of 100,000.
Yeah. All right. So, yes.
That's a dramatic increase.
All right. So, the other common criticism is that I'm going to just call them so-called school professionals, all right, have been trained, and shall I say overtrained, to be on the lookout for symptoms that will be associated with autism or anything else that involves special needs.
That sounds like fishing for money to me.
Okay, so, Okay, so at the same time, though, what this means is a lot of kids end up being considered special needs who really are not special needs.
That's correct. And one of my interns from a few years back in my company,
number is suspicious.
very suspicious. One of my interns a few years back, I was told about 2/3 of the way through the semester working with her that she was that she had told another person I worked with that she was diagnosed as autistic. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I said, I said, you got to be kidding me. She's doing great work. She's serving subpoenas. She seems absolutely normal. How could she possibly have autism? She said, well, when she talks to you, you notice she won't look you right in the eye.
Yeah. Well,
so, I'll check this out. So the next couple of times I talked to her, I took note, and she was right. She didn't really look me straight in the eye. She'd glance at me as she went by. She didn't really want to talk to me like this when she looked me right in the eye.
So did you talk to her about
that's why she needs drugs. I mean,
did you talk to her about it?
No.
Okay.
No, because it's not my business. I was told by somebody that she told her, she was working with somebody.
Well, as you
told me what she said. I don't want to be a part of a third party. I'm not a gossiper, so I don't do rumors. I don't talk to people about other people.
I don't think this really fall into that. This is you personally observing that her behavior has some quirks, and you'd like to bring them to her attention.
If I had personally observed anything, but other than the fact that she didn't stare me right in the eye every minute, I don't consider that to be to me. That's if you're living a normal life, except maybe you don't want to look people in the eye. I myself, I was into my 30s before I felt comfortable looking people right in the eye for any length of time myself.
Okay, all right.
So I don't have any disorders. I mean, so I think we're just fishing is what we're doing. We're fishing for disorders. Rush Limbaugh once said, there's statistically, if you were to add up all the diagnoses of all the disorders, at that time we had about 300 million people in the country. We had 4.5 diseases for every man, woman, and child in the country.
Okay. Yes. Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. Can't complain there.
Crazy. So.
Okay. So
that's why Sheila is such a good person. She does it for children, but she's great. And so we were up there to meet with her, help her out. She wanted to interview me, and she did so. It wasn't really more. It was more of a video clip of me reacting to her legislation that she wants me to do, that she wants to get through in Connecticut. And it was a good little piece. One of the problems I continue to have technologically is my phone. My phone was running out of power by the time I got to her, so I didn't really get a chance to do anything with her live.
Right.
I had to save some for the way out.
All right. So
it'll be on her site though soon. It'll be called ablechild.org, and you'll see the interview there.
All right. Meantime, we got another issue here, which I just started to bring up, but this is for the benefit of the audience as well. I'm quite serious when I talk about the need for revolt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not quite sure what form that's going to take, but something will have to happen. So let me just share with you that I did get a communication from Deborah Stevenson. Okay. She's a top lawyer in Connecticut for homeschooling. And her whole thing was sort of the calm, we just got to keep pressuring him approach. It's not working.
It's not working. How many people did we have at the Capitol last month? A couple months ago, 6,000 some odd.
It's not working.
It's not working.
Okay.
They don't care.
Exactly.
They're not interested in. I'm going to be blunt here.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are they not interested in listening to our objections, they're interested in shutting down and shutting up the people that are objecting in any way they can.
Mm-hmm. Right. And all right, so I'm going to digress let me back up on this to make an obvious point that we may have already discussed, and which I think you already know. The reason we are being ignored, okay, is because the situation for the educational establishment and the establishment in general is becoming, wait for it, dire, okay? Too many kids are going into homeschooling. Too many kids are leaving the educational system, even though it's still a small percentage. And so they're sitting there reading their tea leaves and deciding this is going to get worse. They're
trying to rein in control.
They're going to see all the benefits of homeschooling, okay? Mm-hmm. So what's happening is this new model for educating children is emerging, all right? Homeschooling is at the center of it. And then the role of the public school district becomes very different. And the biggest loser in this new culture of education is the teachers unions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they are fighting for their lives,
Their own jobs. That's all they care about.
well, and no, it's not so much their jobs, it's the
Well, fewer kids in school, fewer teachers needed. That's part of it.
Okay,
Less political power, less influence over the population.
just to make the point though, number one, you've had teachers leaving the union to begin with. All right, the just by virtue of their own inclination, fewer teachers are deciding the union is worth it. Okay, and then the second thing is that the pressure from the parents is making it harder for them to function. Although we should see more pressure, a lot more pressure.
We should see a lot more pressure.
All right.
Everything.
All right. So the teachers union can see the problem, and so they are being hard asses. And let me just back up just another little thing. I got to make a point. The unholy alliance that's existed for all this time, okay, between the state of Connecticut and the unions, which is really the unions and the Democrat Party, has been this. We, the unions, will help you, the Democrats, get elected. Okay, we've got enough manpower out here to get out the vote, help you with fundraising, run your campaigns, all those good things that will get you elected every time. Okay, in exchange, you, the Democrats, will never pass any legislation that hurts the unions. Okay, and that's exactly how it has been.
Isn't it even having union representation in public office a conflict of interest just on the face of it to begin with?
To me, it's obvious,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I know.
you're pitting the taxpayer against their own constituents.
All right. Well, I told you about how the legislators tack their pension onto the union contracts, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. I can't think of a more clear example of conflict of interest.
Wasn't it Scott Mitchell, the governor of Wisconsin, that went in and broke up the public unions and ended public? I'm pretty sure
Scott Walker, wasn't it?
Scott Walker. Thank you.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, Scott Walker eliminated the unions in Wisconsin for the public for the government.
All right. Yes, all true. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to just go back to education for a minute. Yes, we are on the verge, we're on the cusp of seeing dramatic improvements in education. Okay. But they stand in the way of these things being realized. Because and the point I guess I want to make is, if you're looking at liberalism, progressivism, whatever you want to call it,
Communism.
all right,
That's what it is.
there are certain things that are the hills on which they will die. And I tell you right now, truly,
education is number one.
that is exactly right.
And voter fraud is the other one.
Well, yes, that's important, yes. But in terms of,
when I say voter fraud, I'm talking about not just the rigging of the elections, but the aspect of the illegal immigrants to add to the vote, all of that,
okay,
rigging elections through not only illegal registration, but also voter fraud.
All right. So I think for the moment we'll accept that these are those two things. Fixing those two things will do more to get rid of the Democrats than anything else I can think of. Because
save the country.
No, they have to lie, cheat, and steal to stay in office. So this is what they do. Okay. So the place where you really see this is the Board of Education elections. The degree to which these people will fight to have a conservative be on the board is quite remarkable. Okay. You if you were in the middle of any of these, you'd be surprised. Okay. So, and at best, you'll find that there are boards that have maybe one or two who are like us. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And so with the teachers unions, we can't have it in terms of homeschooling, can't have it in terms of what will happen to the boards of education. So they're going to fight everywhere they can. And
we need to fight back with fire.
All right. So that's
what's going to matter. We already have a big problem with our younger generation. So many, luckily, thanks to TPUSA, there's an equal and opposite reaction here.
Yeah.
A lot of our under 25 citizens believe in socialism, believe in Marxism, and are being taught a lot of nasty stuff. And so we need to stop that pattern.
Okay, well, stopping that pattern comes in various forms. With the Education Council, this is a perennial problem, and we just have not quite gotten over the hump. Because that hump is it's newsletters, it's flyers, it's special events, it's rallies, it's more communication with parents. This is the other point. Okay, the homeschooling community is becoming an organized political voting bloc.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Good.
That's a problem for them.
That's a problem for them. Yeah.
All right. So building and supporting what they're doing, I think, is essential. And I haven't considered this. Would it be that the number of people involved in homeschooling can reach a threshold that presents the biggest threat to Democrats getting reelected?
Yeah.
This I have not considered in depth.
That's why homeschooling groups that could come together should really, really help out, increase that. Because the problem with a lot of parents having to work all day is one of the big problems why a lot of kids are homeschooled.
Yeah, well, so
it's a practical thing. They got that busted up too, and they created two income household necessities over the last 40 years.
Okay, so let me just bring up this other thing here that's part of this. It's not been a part of the discussion. Towards the tail end of COVID, you had people who discover these things. I talked about this with you, right? Private membership associations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these things can act as a shield against government interference.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised that there's not more discussion about it.
We should probably research and discuss it more then.
Yeah. So here, let me just, while we're talking, I'm going to, as an example here, how do I want to do this? Here's the search I'm doing, private membership associations in Connecticut. Okay. Let's see what comes up. All right. What's this? I guess the Connecticut Association of Independent Schools. What's this?
CAIC, CIS.
Maybe.
Association of Independent. Well, no, you know what? That's going to be more associated with like some of the old liberal private schools, like where I used to work at Loomis Chaffee, Cheshire Academy, Suffield Academy. What else is there? Rosemary, Kingswood, Oxford, and West Hartford. Those are probably the schools in part of that. I'll bet you.
See, this is not giving me the here. Let me just try this. One alteration here. Because I remember it showed me something else.
We have something in Connecticut like that? That'd be great.
What I have to do is help people. They're not. The search engine is kind of screwed up here. I'll have to do more homework on this.
Okay, well, I think we could do a show on that, a segment on that in the near future.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, again, being at the Capitol, walking around, seeing what's going on in there. Yes. I want to bring up something that.
All right. Let me give you something as an intro. I know what you're going to talk about.
Okay.
Steve Bannon on the War Room. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So people are spending a lot of time talking about Iran. And he basically said, on the list of priorities for threats facing America, Iran would be about number 10. All right. The real threats, the ones that are higher up on the list, are exactly the things you and I are talking about.
Yeah, the things that are going on right inside our borders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I would agree, but I don't want to put Iran 10th. I'd put them like it depends on how you want to do it. If you want to break it down, I'll put it like our domestic insurgency, 1, Iran 2. I mean, I don't want to break it down to 500 things, because we have our own domestic Marxist red-green threat in our own borders is number one threat.
In my mind,
Iran is a part of that.
All right, divide and conquer. Okay, we have to draw a clear distinction here that can begin to put a crack between the communist side and the Islamic side.
That would be a key. Our own version of divide and conquer.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, if they win, they're going to fight each other. The Islamists, the green will try to take out the red.
Let's see. The green will try to take out. Oh,
because they're the ones that want. They're the jihadists. They're the ones that want the world of Islam. So they're the ones that are going to take out anyone in their way. And by the way, if you're African American,
yeah.
they're going to wipe you out too.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like gays. They don't like blacks. They don't like women.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my thing. Okay, the jihad, right? These Islamic Muslim people, which I don't consider a legitimate religion at all. A death cult is what they are, and they're bent on ending the Western world and ending the free world and subjecting us all to their Sharia law or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But we never talk about the other way around. How about if we end their world? And how about if we subject their people to life and liberty and happiness?
All right. Well, are you willing to engage in psyops?
Psyops.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You know what psyops are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm willing to engage in whatever's necessary because we've reached a point of, I think, look, this thing started, most people do not look at things other than their own lifespan. And I think that's a shame because this struggle started about 1,200 years ago. Okay, with the formation of Muhammad and the Islamic religion. It's been a problem ever since. They seized the Holy Lands in the Middle East, of which the Europeans were unsuccessful in getting any toehold on. They seized land in Europe when they seized Spain and the Moors tribes. We had to drive them back. They harassed our pirates, our shipping early in our history with the Barbary pirates.
Right. So
enslaved our soldiers,
let me put
our shippers, our merchants.
Fine. That's good for historical background in America to try and set the context here.
Right. So what I'm getting at is that.
And by the way, we've had Muslims in America for quite some time.
We have had Muslims in America for quite some time.
What's going on?
Yeah. And so, look, this is the bigger threat. I think we're losing this war. I think this is World War III already, if you want my honest opinion. I think that they figured out the red and the green figured out years and years ago they couldn't beat us militarily. We're just too strong. So they're doing it with suits and ties and dresses.
Well, they're
coming over here and they're infiltrating our system.
I think they're both using different sets of strategies to the same end.
To the same end. And I don't know if they're probably not working directly together, but they're certainly in allegiance to what they're doing. Well, they're both trying to achieve the same things. And
I think the one thing they probably share in common is that they both find ways to use victimhood as a tool to get what they want. Okay.
And envy.
Well, I wouldn't.
Class envy is a big way the red gets their way.
Yeah,
that's Marx's whole thing.
But not
kill the rich, eat the rich.
Yeah.
You know, it's about when somebody has something that you don't, that you're entitled to it.
Okay, so the other way to kind of think about this, no surprise, is what makes it easy for them to form an alliance is that they both look upon us as antithetical to what they want and what they believe, even if what they believe is different from each other. It's still different.
It's two different kinds of evil, I guess.
Yeah.
So communism is more of an economic oppression, whereas Islam is more of a theological oppression.
No,
both are disastrous for people.
No, not so fast. Marxism used to be about economics. It's now about culture.
It's about both, but yes.
Well, it's cultural Marxism. No, the part that's getting everybody upset is cultural Marxism. Okay.
Well, the men and women sports and all that.
DEI, CRT.
Yeah.
That stuff is
what that is to me.
That's cultural Marxism.
But a true Marxist looks at those things as a means to an end. So by doing these cultural warfare things, you split up the strongest part about free people is their families. Then you split up their families, and then you can control them economically, and completely. Actually,
no, it's
break up family. I'm telling you, the battle is about for oppressive dictatorships. It's break up your families.
So here's what doesn't make sense. All right, let's just talk about the Marxists in America for a moment. Their ideal state would be exemplified by, take your pick, Cuba or North Korea.
Wonderful. Two wonderful places to live.
Okay, well, let's just look at Cuba for a moment. How's it going in Cuba?
Not good.
And they think Cuba is the ideal state. They want to convert America
Into a big Cuba.
but Cuba's failing. And we may be taking over Cuba any day now. And they want to convert us into something like Cuba. This is not making sense.
No, it would not make sense if it weren't for the fact that the free world, which I believe peaked in the mid-90s. I mean, look, Europe has fallen. If we're looking at it as a global war, Europe has fallen.
No,
Gone.
no, they're on. They have.
Spain wouldn't even let us fly over their land.
Okay, you say this. Look, there are two sets of again. You've got the green and the red. All right. Let's use Spain as your top example. Okay, they were the first to say we don't want any American military flights going over Spain. We're not allowing it.
Yeah, they're green. They're like the Moors again.
Well, no, it's a socialist country. No, they're recent.
Whatever they're doing, Europe has fallen to the green wave.
No, it's all right. There are things that don't make sense. So let's start with the obvious. Are you aware that Germany is increasingly going? What's the Save America Act is a major concern of mine. Yes, has to get done now. If Americans don't understand this, the BEAT, that would be BEAT, will go on more out of tune. Okay. Yes, Save America Act. We think, for what? I mean, I just to bring it up, JKK. You got, all right, again, I go back to Steve Bannon. He talked about the Save America Act. 2 points. Steve Bannon seems to have backpedaled on the Save America Act, okay? The Save America Act would solve a lot of these problems in one stroke, but there are states that can act their own laws which will lessen the amount of voter fraud.
It's not a federal election. We can't regulate any state elections, only the federal elections. It'll help like John DeBarros, but it won't help any of the state representatives or anything like that.
No. The Save America Act is about the rules and regulations for managing elections. All right. Mm-hmm. And it's boiled down to one thing. Back in 1993, there was legislation concerning voters and voter registration. And this is where the big mistake was made back then, because they decided in Congress that you didn't have to, quote, prove your citizenship. So do you recall, if you look at a voter registration form, there's a little box in there that says, I attest that I'm an American citizen. Mm-hmm. Registrars have complained they don't believe that they're supposed to police people for their citizenship. That's been their big argument. Okay. And that reflects what happened when this law was passed back in the 1990s. Okay. Back then, no, they should have decided that we're going to demand that people prove citizenship. Right. You prove it when you apply to vote, and there'll be some form of proof when you show up to vote. That is what is needed. This is what we're arguing for now, because we've seen how the whole system has basically fallen apart since then. Okay.
Well, in essence,
the Save America Act then is an attempt to deal with this, but it's not the only one. And I brought a third in gerrymandering. Okay. If all the stuff with gerrymandering works, that's going to do a lot to, slow down the fraud. Taking the 800,000 voters off the list in Oregon, that's going to be big. There'll be other states where these announcements will come out. People forget that there were a whole ton of illegal voters taken off the California rolls not too long ago. It was like 1.2 million. Okay, so, state by state, we're seeing things that are improving. But
we'll see better results this fall.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, there's a lot. I don't know what we can expect between now and then, but there's a lot that needs to happen in the next 3 months.
So that's just being one of them.
It's not going to be perfect. This is just the sad fact. And
well, if anything in the right direction from where we were, I guess.
The place was going to be the least perfect, of course, is going to be Connecticut.
Let me before we go, I want to finish my thought about this, about the big picture here.
Yes.
All right. This all started with the rise of Muhammad and the Islamic religion in the 12th century, 8th century. And essentially, it's been a problem ever since. But what I think now is because of the internet and because of the technology, because of the major advancements in communication and transportation, the Earth is a lot smaller now, and this thing is coming to a head.
What's a lot smaller?
The Earth, the world, is a lot smaller now. The way we communicate and transport, it's just too. It's not. The oceans don't protect us like they used to. It's not the same.
You need to draw a connection there that I'm not seeing.
Because of all this, the struggle between the Western world, the individual free world, and the oppressive dictatorship world is coming to a head now, and it's going to be one or the other. It's going to dominate this planet. We can't do both anymore. Look, we can't live under the threat of people that want to destroy us. We just have to. They have to go. The dictators of the world, the Putins, the Z's, the Kim Jong-il, whatever his name is. These people got to go at the end of the day. We can't. We need a free world. The free world needs to look. We're losing right now. We're reeling. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that's left of the free world right now is Donald Trump, our military, and our MAGA people. That's it. The rest of it's been overrun by red and green wave. Maybe Japan. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
El Salvador, I heard, is a really good country now. Peru is a good place. There's 3 or 4 other countries around the world, but for the most part, the free world we had in the 90s is gone. And Europe has fallen. I know that Europe has fallen. Okay, I know they've not been conquered officially, but they're overrunning Europe with their influence, and the Europeans are too much of wussies to fight back. And maybe there's some good things happen in Germany, I hope. But right now, we are losing this struggle, and if we don't fight back in a real way, revolt, our own little Western aggressiveness, okay, to take these people out, then we're going to end up in another dark ages. Another 1,000 years of death and destruction. I know it sounds bad. Right now, what we have is very strong. We have the strongest military in the world. We have Donald Trump. We have the MAGA people.
I find it
very strong.
Okay,
but
I find it remarkable.
Donald Trump's ain't going to live forever.
I find it remarkable that you're making these statements when you have to remember that, with the exception of France, the Muslim population of these other countries is not above 6%. So you're telling me that 6% is going to wipe out 93%.
Yeah, I am telling you that. I am telling you exactly that. And it's going to be 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%. And then eventually it's going to, it only takes about, you and I have already agreed, it takes about, what, 20, 25% to create a revolution? So, they will. They're doing it. It's their mission.
All right. Well,
they're not doing it with the army uniformed soldiers. They're just doing it with immigrants. And it might take a little while, but they're going to do it. And we're losing. We are losing. You know why? Because we're not fighting back. We're just talking about it. We got our people in the White House doing press conferences telling people to please kindly stop talking about killing the president. Stop. But can we please just stop inciting riots?
Okay.
And arresting these people.
All right. So let's focus a little bit here. All right. I understand you're having your Donald Duck moment. I appreciate that.
I'm looking at things. I don't look at things for the next 20 years. I'm looking at the next 100 years.
Well, no.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm looking at the next 200 years in the future.
Let's just stick with the next 5 years. All right.
How about at least 50 anyway? We have kids and grandkids that want to live in this world.
All right, but
I'm not interested in just 5 years. I'm interested in what's going to happen in the long run.
I'm bringing up 5 years because I'm trying to talk about what you and I can do. Okay.
True. Hopefully I have more than 5. But I get what you're saying. What you and I can do, right? I get that. So, we have to it's fight fire with fire. The more I get involved with this, the more time that goes by. I think this election this fall, and you might want to throw in 2028 in there, is probably the last chance to do this without.
Right. So let me tell you a little story to give you something to think about. Okay. This is actually a Muslim folktale, so I'm sure you're going to appreciate it.
Sure.
And I read it in a book.
Yeah.
All right. I read it in a textbook in the 6th grade.
Okay.
Or I might have been in the school library. In any event, it's the story of a Turkish stonemason. Okay.
Okay.
Every morning, he would go out with a basket and a hammer, and he would chip he would chip rock off of this gigantic boulder to go build a wall or do whatever needed to be done.
Okay.
So one day he says, God,
He was a cobbler.
yes, he just said, I am such a small person. I wish I was more powerful. And coming by was like a pasha or a shah or somebody, and he was being carried around. And he says to God, God, I want to be as powerful as that person.
Okay.
So God made him that person. Okay, so now suddenly he's an all-powerful pasha. He can tell people what to do, push them around, be mean, etc. But then what he found then as he was doing his thing, that the sun was causing drought and the heat was making people suffer and was causing all kinds of problems. And he realized, God, the sun is more powerful than me. I want to be the sun. That's all powerful.
Oh boy, now you're talking about serious stuff.
Okay. So then God said, okay, I'll make you the sun. Here you go. Boom. So now he's the sun, and he's having a grand old time, sending rays in the earth, burning things up.
Lost his arms and legs and everything, but okay.
However, there was a problem. Clouds would get in the way. All right. And the clouds would rain. There would be flood. And he realized that the clouds were more powerful than him. And he said, God, I want to be like the clouds. And God said, okay. So I made him the clouds. Now he's
That's a downgrade, man.
Well, not inside. He's going where the changes are. People can make change. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can like the ending. So he is raining down on the earth, all these things, and he notices that even though he makes these floods, there are these giant boulders that are unmoved. They just stay there. This is terrible. He says, Lord, they're more powerful. The boulders are more powerful than me. Make me the boulder. God said, okay. So now he's a boulder. Another stonemason comes along and starts chipping away at him.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So just because you think you're small and insignificant, don't think you're not powerful.
You can't win.
Well, you can. All right, if you want to be negative about it. Okay.
All right. So with that, I'm ready to wrap it up, but I want to conclude with one thing. And you got anything else you want to throw out there before we?
Well, the main point here is that everything that we're bitching about, complaining about, we're worrying about, is right here in Connecticut. Okay.
Yeah, we're the epitome of it right here.
In the world, writ small. Okay.
So one last thing.
Yeah.
Just to dovetail on what I said before, it's coming to a head with all the technology. The world just can't continue to be a good place with dictators and thugs oppressing so many people. And I think in the end of the day, the free world has to win out. And that's why.
Make Earth great again. What?
No. Just Meg. There's no mega. It's just make Earth great, because the Earth never was great. You can't say make Earth great again, because it's never been great. Never been great. Always been ruled by lords and fiefdoms and sultans, and only the United States has been the ray of sunshine. You could argue Greece and Rome had some nice democratic ways about them, especially in the early part of the Roman Republic, but it didn't last long. It was only for men. Women had no say in any of it.
Where did our founding fathers get their inspiration for government from?
John Locke.
Well,
the guys.
And the Greeks and the Romans.
Right.
Okay.
So they tried it. It didn't work. Rome actually did fairly well, but they became an empire. They got sort of empire-y early.
Mm-hmm.
So no, the United States is the only place that's really successful in making a strong middle class of people that can live the lives the way they want, self-determination. And that's why make Earth great is ultimately the goal. First MAGA, then Meg. So
all right. So all this and afterwards, but just because I've dealt with all this stuff, there is what I'll call political analysis that needs to be done. You look at where conservatives have made progress, the impact that MAGA has had. Okay. There wasn't any MAGA 15 years ago. All right. And the issue here is, how do we take back these institutions? All right. Mm-hmm. How do we take back these institutions? That's the discussion.
I think
And
we know how. I think it's just about executing the plan. First of all, straighten out the voter fraud.
well, part of it,
You know,
that's critical.
Storm needs, you know, you got to have more people involved, going to RTCs, going to Board of Educations, making it loud, making their voices heard, hitting them in these two places that we just described, where their line in the sand issues are: their Board of Educations and their voter fraud. So let's hit hard in those areas.
All right. So you say hit hard, but it's there.
Numbers takes numbers. And that's the problem.
Well, it takes numbers and it takes being organized. Okay. And I mean, later I will remind you of some of the dirty tricks that they have played in the context of education.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, there's got to be the place I keep landing is in new institutions, new organizations, new associations, and homeschooling is becoming one of them. And that's why we should be, doing everything we can to build that up.
All right.
But anyway, there you go. All right.
Until tomorrow night, then?
Yep.
Same bat channel, same bat time.
There you go.
All right.